Welcome back to Orlando Out of Context. I'm Brian.
And I'm Stephanie.
And welcome, guys. So we have a very, very special guest today. We have Denna, who is Halloween Guide Orlando. She runs Halloween Guide Orlando Instagram account. Welcome, Denna.
Welcome to, thank you. I'm listening, welcoming you guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
So Denna, for Halloween Guide Orlando, is it just the Instagram account, or do you have other places where people can find Halloween Guide Orlando?
Well, it's actually a website, which is a database of all Halloween events that I can find. And I've been building it since 2014. So once an event is in the database, I'll go and update it each year and then add all new stuff.
Oh, wow.
As the events are announced. And it's everything, because I love everything Halloween. So it's from story time at the library and arts and crafts to extreme haunts. It's free events as well as one that is coming up. Actually, one that just happened was a weekend in a haunted mansion that Orlando Ghost Adventures put on, which was like a couple $100, but that included your room and, you know, all of that. So, I mean, it spans everything because I love all the Halloween. I love it all.
So is that how it started then? Is basically a website directory of everything?
It started, I used to do some work for thedailycity.com, and it started on there, and then it just outgrew it.
Right.
Because I just would dig, and the more I would post, the more people would go, hey, did you hear about this?
Sure.
Did you see this? And so it just grew and grew until it became its own website in 2014.
Well, that's awesome.
So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to break down everything we did over the Halloween season, because we did do a Halloween episode already, but now here we are doing a post-Halloween roundup. We're going to talk about what we liked, what we maybe didn't like, and some of the newer things that we had this Halloween season thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
But we want to start with a little Orlando Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Denna, tell us, are you Orlando native, or did you move here from somewhere else?
I am a transplant,
okay.
Originally from North Carolina, but I'm married to a born and raised Orlandoan.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Which is hard to find.
It is hard to find.
It's very hard to find. I think we've only found a few in all of our interviews with people.
Yeah. So I kind of think that gives me a little, you know, little clout.
Yeah, you have some credit.
I love
it. So yeah, that's cool. So how long have you been in the Orlando area?
Oh my gosh. Since the 90s.
So basically, you're basically a native. Like you are
exactly
a full-fledged Orlandian.
Yeah, when I moved to Orlando, you had to pay an impact fee. So I feel like once I paid that, that gave me my Orlando clout.
We need to start enforcing that again and up the fee because we're full.
Right?
So wait, they used to charge an impact fee?
Yeah, when you moved from another state, you got charged based on, I think it was your car.
Wow.
Yeah, so you had to pay that impact fee before you could get your sticker and license and all of that. If I remember right, I paid $600.
Wow.
Okay.
Maybe if we did that, we could, start controlling.
That's not going to stop anyone. Well, before COVID, 1,000 new people a week, I think it was moving to Florida. And I think it will even increase as things kind of settle down because people want to come down here and have more space. So
yeah. Although you have to go to the outskirts now to find space.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing a lot of in Orlando are those high rises and apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So, or zero fault line housing.
Right.
Which drives me crazy being from North Carolina, but I get it. Houses built right up against other houses.
I don't care for that either, but you see a lot of it in Orlando.
So Denna, I have a question for you. So when you started to comprehend what was happening earlier this year at the end of March, into April, did you think that we were going to be in this position all the way into basically your season of the year, Halloween season? Like, what were your thoughts back then in those first few months of COVID? And what were you expecting? What, enlighten us on what you were thinking back
I remember
then.
seeing a lot of memes like, come on guys, let's cooperate so we can #save Halloween.
Yeah. I guess for me, like the first hit for me, I work for the Orlando Fringe Festival, and it's a 14-day long international theater festival. This would have been our 29th year. And rolling into it back, I want to say February, really, we had every idea that we were going to go, that we were going to have our festival, that we were going to be able to get this stuff together and clean it up. And then it just kept getting worse and worse. And so for me, I had huge cancellations in the beginning of the year with Spooky Empire. I was working on a movie for 2 weeks, which would have been one of my bigger movie gigs that I've ever had. And so I was super excited. I wasn't acting now, although I do prefer to act versus, behind the stage. But I love working on the movie sets. And then when we canceled Fringe, that's when I knew that, holy crap.
Right.
This is serious. And then it just kept, every event that I had just kept postponing or canceling. And then, we rolled into spooky season. My biggest event would have been Spooky Empire in October. We have 2 events a year. And, we made the decision to close that, but it didn't hurt as much because I had canceled Fringe.
You'd already been through
that one, like truly gutted me.
Yeah.
29 years, 14, you know what I'm saying? So by the time we rolled around, I kind of wrapped my mind around, what's going on. And it really was a safe thing to do. I don't know if have you been to any conventions?
I've just been to Star Wars Celebration. That's
okay. So you know how packed they are.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just when we started seeing the new idea of Halloween coming out, the haunts, the socially distancing, then it's like, well, it's gonna happen. I mean, let's face it. For me, Halloween is happening.
Yes, me too.
Period. It's just a matter of how is it going to happen, and I was prepared to be a hermit and, decorate my house up and carve pumpkins and all that. But as the announcements started coming out about all the new and different haunts, it was hopeful. And this year was
excitement.
This year was definitely the year of the independent haunt, with all the big guys, although Halloween went off. Differently, but went off.
Right.
I don't know. Did I answer your question?
No, you totally did. No, you totally answered the question. I think that we had no idea back that early that, we thought, back that in those first month or two, I thought, everything's going to be fine by July,
summer.
June or July, but everything everything just kept, like you said, kind of snowballing and rolling, and the cancellations just kept, rolling in for not just Halloween stuff, but the whole calendar year. And if you think about it now, we're almost to a year of this, and but so
effect.
Go ahead.
I mean, we're getting ready for Fringemas, a Christmas Carol event in December with the Orlando Fringe. And we're having it outdoors.
Awesome.
So it's still affecting, and that's a December event.
Yeah. Well, I know that Dr. Phillips has set up an outside theater, I believe.
Yeah.
With little, I don't know, pictures pods. I saw were like, pods.
Yeah, like little stages almost.
It looks cool. It looks like a cool, idea. We're the kind of people that, like, we would prefer that all the time. Like, I would just love to be in my own little pod at all times.
Right?
Either way, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I definitely think, some people have said, I want things to return to normal. And I'm like, there's a lot of things that I actually kind of did. Yeah, like, the idea of, let's wash our hands more. Let's space out a little bit. Let's look at alternative ways to have theater and events.
Sure.
Yes.
I totally love it.
All right, so we want to get into some experiences that we've done this Halloween. So we want to talk about, we didn't get to do too many things, but we did want to go over the things that we did do. And then also I saw some things that you did on your Instagram stories that I didn't do. So
forewarning, and all of our listeners know that I'm a little bit less of a Halloween person, a lot less than Steph. So I don't really do the haunted attractions very much. But this year I did do
a few of
2 of the drive-through haunts.
Right.
So generally I don't care for the haunted things. I like Halloween. It's just I don't care for the haunted aspect.
I like it all.
Yeah, I know you love it all. So that's why it's great that Stephanie has someone, who can relate a little bit more but I'm excited to be able to kind of put some of my input into some of the things that I did see this year that I wouldn't have normally experienced. Well, none of us would have experienced if it wasn't for this year.
So let's start with something that we did together, which was the Haunted Road. Did you get a chance to experience that?
Yes, both nighttime and daytime.
Oh, okay. I saw some Instagram posts of the daytime, and I was like, man, that looks a lot of fun for kids, because we just nighttime, and we enjoyed it. We thought it was really good. We had probably the best experience you could have, because as soon as we got there, we immediately started. We didn't have to wait any lines. We didn't get into any of these shenanigans that we heard about online. But we thought it was good. Definitely some feedback I would have for a few things. We missed some of the radio station changes. So we missed a few, I think 1 or 2 scenes we missed out on because we didn't see the sign. But I thought it was a good concept, and I would like to see them build on it.
Right.
What were your
I
thoughts?
hope that they're able to recover. I don't know if you followed any of their social media, but they had some challenges.
They did.
Yeah.
I think creatively, it was a great step forward. It's the first of its kind.
Yeah.
Both Scream and Scream, and Haunted Road both kind of came out with that concept, and had a clean board. They could go anywhere. So it was interesting seeing the 2 different takes on it. My biggest thing was their marketing versus their product.
Oh, yes. I would agree there.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I actually know the vast majority of people on the creative team for Haunted Road through Orlando Fringe, because many of them have participated in different productions during Orlando Fringe.
We
and I'm like,
with Jessica Marico for one of our
I've known Marico forever and ever. Yeah. She knew me when I had brown hair. That's how long I've known her. And she did Drip, which
was amazing. I love Drip.
Such a cool, and did Vampire Bar and all kinds of things. Drip started at Orlando Fringe, so I've known her, and she's creatively a mastermind. But yeah, that's that. I think if it were a Fringe production, I think it would have been just embraced and loved. Mm-hmm. But because we live in Halloween Town, with the big dogs of Halloween Horror Nights, and you could even go further and say like Mortem Manor, which is down in Kissimmee. And I embrace the ones that are even further. Shallow Grave, which was a few years ago, which was one of the best haunts in the state. I'd even say on the East Coast, but we don't play when it comes to haunts. And I think that's where what they delivered versus what they advertised.
Right. I feel like their advertising was very commercial, and it didn't really touch. I don't think they truly captured some of the real people that were in the show. It was all kind of like these billboard images.
It's almost stock footage.
Footage, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
get why they did it. They did it so that if they come back next year, they're not stuck with the images from this year.
Yes.
I get it. But at the same time, there's the expectation factor. You've got to, like, what I knew it was going to be theatrical. I knew, just because, like I said, I know the vast majority of people on their creative team. And I had insider information as well. So personally, I was fine. But if I put my Halloween visor on, it was a little hiccup.
Yeah.
You know, the haunted road and that image and that, versus Rapunzel.
Right. So now that we're, you kind of already started comparing, what were your thoughts on Scream and Stream? Did you get to experience that?
Yes. I thought that it was more haunt-like. I feel production value was higher on Haunted Road.
Yeah.
Than Scream and Stream. I also think it's funny that I can't get their name. Double the value there. But again, I mean, it's funny because, you look at it, for me, I can look at it through my eyes, which is going through all these different haunts all over, and actually go through haunts all over the East Coast. I would love to expand that further, but there's only so many weekends.
Yeah.
And if you get everything done in Orlando, you don't have time to go to other states. But I feel like it was more basic. And I'm not saying basic's bad.
Yeah.
It was new.
We were disappointed with the logistics because we had to wait an hour and a half, unfortunately. And I think that's something that at Haunted Road we didn't have to do. We didn't have to wait because we had a reservation time and we got scooted right in. And it was an hour-long experience at Haunted Road, and the hour went by quick. Like, we felt like, we looked at the clock and like, wow, it's already been an hour.
But we felt that it was a substantial amount of time that we were entertained, Yeah.
Right. It was like a full meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that we sat in line for so long, and then it was like 15 minutes that we drove through this little circle, it was it was kind of a letdown. But
I will have to say some of their props were, a little bit more advanced than the Haunted Road. So,
Haunted Road was more of a production, like a play.
And I did like on Haunted Road how all the audio was coming through the car. So at Scream and Stream, there was a channel they gave us that was kind of like mood music, background music. And then we didn't learn until like the third scene that you have to crack the window just a little bit to hear what's going on. Yeah. It wasn't very much explained to us, really. Yeah. So, it was kind of a learning curve to pick up, what was going on.
I will tell you, you were lucky that you didn't wait at Haunted Road. We had bad waits at both.
Yeah.
But, their first time. Yeah, both were on first time, new ground. Lessons hopefully have been learned.
Sure. So what do you think? What do you think about a world after COVID? Let's just say maybe next year we hope, God forbid, we're still in it. Maybe, but let's just say 5 years down the road. Let's look 5 years down the road. Do you think these drive-through attractions will hold any value 5 years when we're completely out of it, or do you think that people don't want that type of attraction and it's just
something to satiate us right now?
Right. Personally, I think that there's room for all different varieties of attractions. We at Halloween Guide don't do reviews per se because everything is so subjective. And just like in your relationship, you've got one haunt person and one Halloween person. So I feel like if they take the lessons that they learned this year, apply them, and keep moving forward, like don't settle on where you're at, improve what you've done, add more fog, add more, if your audience is a haunt audience, we'll say for Stream and Scream, I feel like their audience was the haunt audience. They had the blood, did the gore, storyline, could use some polishing. Whereas Haunted Road was more of a play and a theatrics and could open to a more family-friendly audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but they've got to fix the problems that happened because both had issues. but I think they are both viable.
Because I definitely understand what you mean about subjective, because we had heard, following up with their social media for Haunted Road, hearing a lot of really negative things.
Oh yeah.
So we went in with very low expectations, but then when we left, I was like, man, that was really good and I really enjoyed it. But had I waited 3 hours, I might not have felt that way. Or I don't know. I don't know what got in my mindset about but made me like it so much. But I think it was even a little scarier than Screaming Stream, because there in Haunted Road, they had a lot of people running around the cars and like popping up, and like the people in the masks and stuff. So I really enjoyed that part of it. I'm
not 100% because I didn't note it down, but I want to say that Haunted Road easily had over 150.
Yeah, actors. I mean, there were a lot of people involved in that production, and I thought it was really good. I mean, but like you say, everyone had so many different opinions, and it's crazy to see how two people can look at the same exact thing and think so differently about it.
Even within my own group, there were ones, people that liked Haunted Road over Scream and Stream and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. And like I said, it's all subjective. I think if Haunted Road can have their marketing put out what they are more about, I think that they would be more successful.
Yeah, and I think beef up social media a little bit, because once the event started, we didn't really see any posts about what was, like to get people to connect with it. It was still just these stock pictures. People want to see what's really going on, and that kind of will tempt you to like maybe, I didn't think I was going to go to this, but I think I want to try it now.
Right. Yeah. So, and I think unfortunately they were in kind of survival mode.
Yeah.
Trying to combat bad press, bad posts, bad reviews and all of that it kind of interrupted what could have been, marketing, social media marketing.
All right, so on to the next one, which is over in Kissimmee, which is Morta Manor. So I have been living in Orlando for 15 years, and I have always overlooked this. As many times as I've been to Old Town, I'm like, oh, that's just some cheap, like that's just some tourist trap. I'm not going in there. But the more that I heard people talking about it, I was like, let me try it. It's only $15. And I really liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was quality. What are your thoughts?
So much fun. So that started out way back in the day as the Grimm House, which would be more like what you expected. And then it was purchased by Legends of Old Town, which totally upped the game. And then when they sold to now the Morta Manor, who have kept that level of great haunt experience. And it's a group of people that they know their house, so they're able to pull things off that you don't expect. Because if you knew how many people were haunting you, you would kind of be like, what? Mm-hmm. But it has like these interior tunnels and hallways that you don't get to see, that gets them from A to B.
Wow.
And it's a lot of fun, some really great effects, open year round.
Yeah.
They also have special events. They'll have a Friday the 13th event coming up. And I believe they've got plans for a Christmas.
Oh, I'm here for that.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that on there. I'm checking right now.
So we made a TikTok about this, and it was pretty popular. We had a lot of comments. People who have been living in Orlando for, 20, 30 years, they all have a lot of memories of this haunted house.
I had a hard time because I loved Legends at Old Town. I didn't get to go to it as Grimm House, but I know people who work there, which is why I know the history of it. But I love Morta Manor. I love their cast and crew and their commitment to keeping up high quality haunts. And they do have holiday hauntings coming up in December, and then every Friday the 13th they'll do a special event.
I love how Dina just pulls up her database.
She's like,
let me look. And I believe I've already got their Friday 13th up on Halloween Guide Orlando, and I might have a save the date for the coming in December.
nice.
And then they do one in February for Valentine's Day.
Cool.
That's good to know.
So all kinds of really cool.
And there's a store attached to it, right?
The boutique
The
next
boutique.
door.
Yes, postmortem effects.
They have really good stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's nice to see a big collection of quality items, you know, that you can look at and touch. And because, you know, when you like specialty items, it's like you can always order online, but then, you know, aside from being quality,
It's such a charm.
Yeah.
And we've got some great shops in Orlando.
Yeah. I also just went to a new store, Prometheus Esoterica.
Yes, Esoterica. Yeah.
I really like that a lot too. That was amazing.
I want to move in there.
Yeah.
I want to live in that environment.
It's just the vibe in there is everything. It's just so nice.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see let me remember how Halloween Guides scary sketch scavenger hunt? Did you see that this year?
I might have seen a post about it on Instagram, but I didn't.
We ran it on our Facebook.
I did see that one of the sketches was left there because I was like, that was one of the only ones I knew. I was like, oh, I was just there. I recognize it.
So we had one in Prometheus, and we also had one in Postmortem.
Yeah.
But we did them in places to try to bring people out and get that Halloween vibe. So it was all the way from, you know, Embellished Effects, which is on Edgewater, which is a year-round costume cosplay mecca, to Gideon's Bakehouse, which had a Frankenstein chocolate chip.
Yeah.
You know, but there's so many cool little places in Orlando to get your Halloween on year-round.
Well, that's a cool idea to do a scavenger hunt because then it kind of also draws people, you know, to these smaller businesses and
definitely.
That's a good idea for a lot of content.
Yeah,
we could do a scavenger hunt type thing.
I love a good scavenger hunt.
Right?
So one more I have on my list that I got to actually two more. Let's do I went to Sir Henry's Trail, and honestly that was the best thing that I've done all month out of the things that I did get to do. I love that haunt so much. I went last year for Valentine's Day, and that was my first time going that particular haunt.
This year for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I guess it was this year. It just feels like last year because it was when life
totally
was so
different
normal.
Life. Totally different life.
Oh, totally. Sir
what do you like that one? Have you been?
Oh my God, yes. I've been going for quite a few years, and it is so good. And kudos to them for really making us all feel safe.
Oh, best. They had everything. I felt amazing. You purchase online. They gave you a time slot for entry. They gave you a list in which to complete the houses to spread everyone out. I mean,
the spacing on the ropes.
Everything.
Yeah. Great. To remind people to stay 6 feet, the spacing on the ropes was amazing. They are just a really, really great group. Now, Omnius Descent used to be with Sir Henry, so it ran its own haunt. They're moving out and into their own space, so I was a little worried. Not really, but sort of, because I'm like, ooh, that's a heavy hitter within the Sir Henry trails. But man, they brought it. They brought all three.
So something that I think about is even though I don't do the haunted trails or the haunted houses, I do think that they are in some ways set up and can be set up very well for social distancing, just like Stephanie's story with Sir Henry's. So, you know, I almost think that some of the things, even with like Universal, I think that probably they were using a lot of caution, right? Because of publicity and whatnot, even though they did release 2 and then they added the third one over the weekend. But, you know, I think that it is very possible. I think it's a matter of, you have to look at your bottom line and what works for your bottom line. You're not going to have as many homes or many haunts and trails,
right?
But you can, you know, reduce your operation enough to still bring in and cover what you need to cover in terms of cost. I think it's possible.
My experience at Sir Henry's, just I was almost mad that I spent my whole Halloween night in the car. I would rather gone back to Sir Henry's and had a whole night of fun than being stuck in my car, and I was just as safe at Sir Henry's.
Yeah.
You know?
I would have to agree with you there. Like I said, I think there's room for everything, and you've now experienced those two,
and I'm ready to
two drive-in ones. And for you, you want to be, it's better to be out of the car. But I'm sure there's plenty of people and families that for them it feels safer to be in the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
I still see a space for the drive-thrus, honestly.
Definitely.
I think that there is going to be a space for the drive-thrus even moving forward, and, imagining them becoming even more streamlined in the future.
Definitely.
But the kids event that you posted at Haunted Road, that actually looked really cool. Like if I had a gaggle full of children, it looked fun,
right,
because they were just shooting candy with tubes through the window. That way you keep the kids contained. They're having fun. They're watching the little Rapunzel show.
The little show, exactly.
Yeah. So I thought that looked pretty cool. I'm not a parent, but it looked awesome.
Same. I have sub children, my friends, or faux children, as I call them.
All right, so the last one on my list that I went to this year that was new was Tunnel of the Damned on International Drive. Did you go?
Yes.
Your answer is yes to everything, huh? Just mark you straight across the board for a yes. What were your thoughts on, and did you do the haunted dinner experience?
I did not do the haunted dinner. It was a little pricey for me. And as I shared, I've pretty much been out of I've not had any gigs since January. And we as a household, it's just me and my husband. I have not really worked outside the house because if I did and I were to get sick, I would bring it home to him. And he is our money winner for our family. So it's been, we had to pay attention this year to how I spent funds. But I did have friends that went and had a great time. And I have had some workings with Orlando Forum. So I kind of know a little about what they can offer and everything. But the tunnel, I thought the tunnel for me reminded me of a Halloween Horror Night pop-up house. Do you know what I mean? Like when you go to Halloween Horror Nights, you've got your soundstage houses, and then you've got the little ones that are in the pop-up rounds. But it kind of felt very Halloween Horror Nights with production value and everything, but it was very short. And I think it was a great offering. I would like to see them expand. I love the idea of the changing every week and tweaking it and giving it something. It's like that was a great return value for guests. But it was small but fun.
I thought it was a good space that could be utilized a little better if you make some tighter some tighter pathways, which also makes it scarier in turn. It's definitely a good space to work with. But I was just shocked at how short it was. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 minutes that I was in there.
I mean, if I remember right, to their press release, it was like 450 square foot, which, averages out about 3 to 5 minute if you're dragging your feet experience.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like, for me, an add-on thing, like hit it on your way to Mortimer Manor or hit it on your way to Sir Henry's.
What I liked about that one is they're open. I think they were open 6 days a week. And they were open till 2 a.m. So that way, that was something extra you could fit in to not take up one of the precious weekend days.
Yeah, because you went in the middle of the week.
Yeah, because I went on a Thursday, I think. So
exactly. And they were one of the few that were open really late.
Yeah.
So you could catch it on your way out or your way home.
Yeah, I like that suggestion of just hitting it up, especially since they're open so late. You can just hit it up in if you have one night or 2 nights that you're doing all your haunts, then add it to the list.
Yeah.
And have it being the supporting character, not the
not the main attraction.
The appetizer.
Did they have any food or anything there? Or?
They were advertising food, but there was no one there. Like they had
They
signs up for barbecue and pizza, but there was no one there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Thursday. I don't know.
We had the bar. We didn't eat there, but the barbecue was offered there, as well as the bar. I think it,
But the juicy crab is right next door, and the juicy crab is really good. So that's right next door.
So that's something that they can look at, because I think they were probably afraid to pull from the seance, which was a full blown.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true. So they're like, if you're hungry, come on over. But like I said, for me personally, I could not plunk down that kind of money for in a perfect world, a regular world, probably yes. But you're looking at close to $200 for 2 people.
Yeah.
So of the things that you did this year, Stephanie has a list of things that she did and we did together. But for you personally, what was, outside of the list that we just talked about, what was your favorite thing this year in Orlando that you experienced during spooky season?
Well, I'll say our discoveries this year, even though I've posted about Lake Catherine's blueberries, we had not been out there. Mm-hmm. So that was a new discovery for us, and it was charming, although that part of the town did not have a mask ordinance for outdoor events. So it was a little shocking coming from Orlando, where we're very sanitizer, mask, social distancing, going out to the country. It almost felt like, no mask, no COVID. But it was super fun. They had a Halloween maze, which was open during the day and at night. And then they had a dark forest trail and an escape room. And it was very charming and very, it was just really super cute. So that was a new find for us, basically because of our schedule. We were able to get out there, whereas, normally if things were going like they would, we would not have made the trip. And then the another fun thing that I absolutely fell in love with was our road trip out to the Davenport Pumpkin House.
Oh, I saw some pictures of that. Do you know if it's still running, or like the 31st was the last night?
I think the 31st was the last night.
Oh, I wanted to take a trip out there. I saved the address.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. And it's just this guy who carves all these pumpkins.
Oh, wow. Why didn't we do that?
I would have rather done that.
Oh, you would have loved it, Brian. You would have been in heaven.
Why did you keep that from me? Listen, next year I'm taking over the Halloween plans.
I thought it was just enough that I asked you to go to Screamish Stream. I didn't think I could push it with the pumpkin house.
Again, it wasn't a little bit of a drive, so we coupled that with going out to Lights on Jeter Bend, which again, Brian, yes, that's up your road.
I meant to go do a TikTok on that, but I just, last week it was a busy week, and in celebration on Jeter Bend, one of the where they do all the Christmas decorations on that one road. Yeah. Well, they do Halloween decorations as well, and it's just as big as Christmas.
Yeah.
I think their Christmas is a little bit bigger. I've seen both, but they do a really great job.
They do a nice job. I don't know if I'd want to live on that street right. during the holiday season because it's crowded, but it's a special thing that they do there.
Yeah, and then just in celebration alone, there's some amazing yard haunts. So what we did is we had dinner in celebration, drove out to Davenport, and then came back, hit Jeter Bend, and then we had some friends drop off from that, and we continued on north to a petrified forest. So we kind of made this whole long trip.
I didn't get to make it out.
So good.
I know.
Well, they had a shortened season, so it was a little bit difficult. But they did really, really great. We also talked about it. If we had to rank, Sir Henry's was number one. Right behind it was a petrified forest.
Yeah,
so it was really good.
Overall, those are my two favorite in Orlando. Well,
yeah.
Sir Henry's is not in Orlando, but within driving. I saw you about Legoland. and I
Yeah.
loved the little characters they had. They had a little vampire and a zombie.
Mhm.
So how was that event for Halloween?
Legoland is really fun.
We've never been to Legoland.
You should totally go. You should go. It's super fun. I will say though, I'm a plus size girl, and some of the attractions are not built for adults.
Oh well,
So
kept us from going thus far. I feel like it's just for kids, but
yeah, there are some that are totally fine. Are available for everybody. But just visually, so much cool stuff to look at. And they did a great job doing some shows, some Halloween shows, social distancing, trick-or-treating. I mean, it was a fun time.
It looked cool. Is this the first year they were doing Halloween, or?
No, they've been doing it for quite a few years. It was our first trip out there to see the Halloween event, but they've been doing brick or treat, I want to say for at least 3, maybe 4 years. And I'm sure it's grown and grown as they learn. And then, of course, this year with the curve of the virus, having to come up with, the socially distancing, trick-or-treating. And now on the same page as Legoland, another stunner I feel this year was Gators, Ghosts, and Goblins out at Gatorland.
I saw you post about that too.
Yeah, and this was our first year working with kids. And we had Zoe helping us, and then Grayson and Harper as my junior correspondents. It's nice to have friends that have kids.
Yeah, because then you can send them away when you're done with playing with them.
Exactly. Back home. Here's some sugar. Here you go. But they did a really great job of theming things out, making you feel safe, being creative. That was a really, really cool event as well. So those definitely, and Legoland, goes all year, as does Gatorland, but my preference is during the fall.
Of course.
And, those are things that you can do not on the weekends if, your schedule allows you. So,
totally.
Also, I saw you post about the Beetlejuice house. Did you actually get to go there, or was that someone?
I did not get to go through. I just couldn't make it work in my schedule. But Omar and my friend Ann, who are part of my Halloween fun squad, so we call ourselves, they both went through and said it was amazing. The great thing about it is it will be coming to Halloween Horror Nights 2021.
Oh, good.
So I didn't cry too hard.
I mean, they just kind of dropped it on us. I mean, maybe not. It wasn't a complete surprise. Maybe it was probably in all the blogs and the fan chat rooms. But it was a surprise to me because I don't keep up with like blogs and stuff like that.
Right.
So when I saw it on social media, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I figured it out. I have quite a few friends that work on those haunted houses. And when before Universal announced, some of the houses had already been completed, like totally built. And I told Omar, we were talking about it when it was still up in the air. The first clue was when they put their merchandise on sale before opening Halloween Horror Nights days. And they sold out of a lot of things on that one first day. They have never, ever put merchandise on sale before an event. So I'm like, okay, that's clue one. When they saw the huge response, I'm sure that their creators were like, crap, we need to do something. And that's when, because I told Omar, I said, I'm laying money on that they're going to open at least a house or two to the public during the day. Because they already have people there. They already have the houses built. And when they saw the response, and I firmly believe that this is the year that Halloween Horror Night fans saved Universal's financial quarter. Because did you get a chance to go out there at all?
No, I don't do Universal only for Halloween, and I haven't even gone the past couple of years because to me it's gotten too crowded, and the experience isn't what I want it to be because they just push you through the haunted house and it's not even scary. Like I like the environment as a whole, like just being in the park, like smelling the smoke and the fog, fog, and having the scare zones and the drinks and the food. But like as far as like the haunted houses, they're just not what I want. So I haven't actually gone for like 2 years, but.
For me, it's like I have 2 children, Halloween Horror Nights and Halloween. Halloween Horror Nights for me is like walking on a movie set. They are the best at immersive environment. But, and I used to work for Halloween, for Universal years ago as a VIP tour guide. Again, back in the 90s, early 2000s. And so I remember back when they used to pulse people through the houses and they did it conga line it.
Yeah.
But the event itself has gotten so huge that that's their response to 2 and 3 hour lines. And even so, when you got an IP like Stranger Things, which was last year, I believe, actually, I think they ran it twice. That house maintained a 2+ hour line consistently.
I'm not someone who likes to drink, so a lot of people just drink all night and they don't even realize they're standing in lines. But that I can't do that, so I'm just like sweating and like irritable. Like, are we there yet?
The key to it is having your fun squad.
Yeah.
Like there's our fun squad. There's like 4 of us that are just like, yeah, do it all, go in, yeah. And then we have people that float in and out. But having that group of people makes being in the line more fun.
Yeah,
we play games. We look at T-shirts. We talk to people. That's the key to it, in my opinion. Now, I do think once things go back to being more open, you should make a trip to Halloween.
I went a long time ago. My friend used to work at Aquatica, so she took me with her for cast member preview.
Right.
This might have been like 10 years ago. And it was cool. I thought it was really like the same kind of environment, the same quality.
But they still hold on to, now, like I said, they're not as immersive.
Yeah.
The haunts are not as polished or decorate, but they still hide their characters. They still pulse people through. They still go for the haunts and the scares that Halloween Horror Nights can't afford to do, not money-wise, space-wise.
One thing that I always remember from that one time that I went was they had people hiding in the bushes.
Yes.
And they had like metal on their knees and their hands, and they would jump out of the bush and slide across the pavement, and it would make sparks.
Exactly.
You never saw them because they were so low to the ground, and then they came out of the bush. And I will always remember that as something really, really cool.
And that still happens at Halloween, but not at Halloween.
It could never happen at Halloween Horror Nights. Like 10 people would fall. It would be like
exactly. And it used to. Back in the day, Halloween Horror Nights had the scrapers.
Yeah.
Now they have, they still have their chainsaws. Sometimes they'll have elements like staffs that make noises or sparks or things like that. But they just don't have the space because of crowds to do that. But Halloween still does. And Halloween still has the affordability to be able to hide people on bungee ropes that jut out at you and like get this from your face. Well, not this year, but and hide characters in bushes and hide characters. Whereas again, Halloween Horror Nights is just so packed, and runs at capacity. So that's the 2 sides of the coin for me. But I love them both because I go into the houses, and I'm sure that, I'm sorry if any house attendants are listening, but I'm one of those people that they're like,
come on, keep moving, go.
Because I just want to look.
Do they have them in the middle of the house?
Yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say every 10, every 10 to 15 feet, you've got to carry
it for sure. But it's how it has to be because people would take too long in the house.
I did go 1 year to one house, and I don't remember people waving.
They just wear like all black, and they kind of stand.
They don't even wear all black anymore.
No?
No.
So they don't even care if they're
visible or not.
And I get it. I will say, because both events have alcohol, but in years past, Universal's been trying to clean up their image with alcohol after some challenges, we'll say. They no longer have the shot girls that used to work the
Oh,
line.
remember they used to dress like nurses and they would have like little shot bags and.
Yeah. So they kind of phased that out, but it's still a highly drinkability event. And I will say the history of my Halloween horror haunt experience, I've been injured twice, and both times for Universal.
Oh, wow.
Once as an employee, I got punched in the chest by a person, and it took my breath away. But they were, because I had pulled the curtain by to tell the attendant how many people I had in my group, and when I dropped the curtain, the person just punched and hit me square in the chest. And then once as a visitor in a scare zone, I was pushed so hard that I flew through the air and landed just all on my left side. And so it's reasons, those are kind of reasons why they have to have those people.
Yeah.
You know, the bad apples. Oh. Unfortunately.
Always someone who ruins it for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's sad, but it happens.
So to look forward, now that we're mourning, you know, here we are November 2nd, Halloween is done. Let's look forward and let's talk about some things how we can celebrate Halloween moving forward all year round. Do you have any recommendations for some good things to keep our spirits high?
Indian is one of my favorite places to go. Have you guys been to Indian Theater?
No, we've never been yet.
It's a beautiful, beautiful restored home that's been turned into a movie theater.
Mm-hmm. I saw they were doing a lot of really old Halloween movies.
Yeah, they usually have 13 films of Halloween. Yeah. They just, on the 6th, will have a new movie being played. And usually they're there for a week. And I had it up, and of course I took it down. But if you go to HalloweenGuideOrlando.com, you can see that. But they're a great place to look because they have so many different films, and a lot of them are more independent and off the track. But they have horror movies coming up. Then you've got different bazaars, like Britannica Bazaar or Bazaar Britannica.
For the first time, I think last.
They have.
I didn't go. I haven't been yet. I do want to go there.
That's where we went to when it was raining.
Oh, yes, Bazaar Britannica. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So they have
nice Halloween earrings there.
And they have Krampus events coming up as well. Do you guys know who Krampus is?
I do.
I've heard of Krampus before. What Krampus events are there?
Well, that Britannica Bazaar has one coming up. Let me pull up my guide. And I can tell you, and I'm sure there's going to be more announcements of other Krampus events. Last year, Milk District had an amazing event, huge event. So I don't know if they will have it to the size of years past.
Probably not.
But you've got those coming up, and as they're announced, you know, they're going to be on the guide. Spooky Empire is doing a pop-up, small, intimate event in December. And then you've got, and I totally considered Christmas Carol a gateway Halloween event because it has ghosts.
Yeah.
Right?
Agree.
Last year we went to see the Christmas Carol at
Garden Theater.
Garden Theater.
That's where I got married.
Oh, really?
In Garden Theater?
Yep.
We have a great relationship with Garden Theater. They're really great. So
yeah, and if you look at rockandrollbride.com and search Dean and Travis, you'll see us featured.
Okay.
Because of course I had a zombie wedding cake. And,
oh my gosh.
Fun little, nuggets of Halloween.
Now, is your husband a Halloween fan too?
Nope, we're like you guys. He will go out to certain events. He loves Sir Henry's. He loves Halloween. He does not like Halloween Horror Nights. So he'll pick and choose what events, but he rather be in Thanksgiving.
That's funny.
Which is a fun event, but
So basically we can check out, for you guys listening, you can go check out the HalloweenGuide.com.
HalloweenGuideOrlando.com.
HalloweenGuideOrlando.com. If you're having if you're fiending for Halloween at any point, you're going to have a database there of anything that's upcoming.
Yeah. And you've got places like Coffee Shop at Paris. Now, some of these places you do have to leave Orlando proper.
Yes.
But they have like an open mic every Friday, I believe.
We went there a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah. Did you have their
so nothing was going on, but
yeah, it's on Fridays. They have their open mic, and they'll have little events too here and there. But yeah, there's things to get you through. You do have to get a little more creative, you know. But you stop into Prometheus, get a little haunt, and you find certain vendors that you like and go to events that they'll be at, like Will's Affair, which is a fun pop-up market that's usually on Mills. You'll see Haley Frankenstein, who is an amazing silversmith artist and makes some hilarious adult jewelry. The sayings on them. Do you know the bracelets? Like, you're like, does that say "Live, Laugh, Lucifer"? Yes. Zombie head jewelry is another one. She makes amazing, grotesque creations. She's also my normal hairdresser, although I'm still in COVID hair right now. But any events they go to, you're going to find other people of that same caliber. And I'll usually post those events to the guide because it's like related. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. We want to do a quick power round of our favorite Orlando things.
Yeah. So the first one is, what is your favorite non-haunted, non-spooky attraction or experience, or just something to do, an activity? It doesn't have to be a paid-for attraction or experience, but a favorite activity in Orlando that you love that's not spooky.
Well, I would have to say Orlando Fringe. Even though I work for them, they have, not only is it the 14-day theatrical festival, we have a free outdoor stage, we have visual art. So it's kind of like all good things of Orlando coming together in that one spot. So before I was an employee, I was a fan and would go every single year. And it's amazing. So I'd say Orlando Fringe.
Awesome. I think that's a great hour. I actually haven't been myself, but I've been wanting to go over that. I know.
Right.
We interviewed Lisa. I can't remember what her last name was.
From the Shitty Beautiful. She runs the Shitty Beautiful.
Oh yeah, Lisa Hart.
Yeah, we interviewed with her last year sometime, and she actually told us a lot about the Fringe that we never knew about.
I love her. She is so fun, and I love Shitty Beautiful too.
Yeah, she's a great person, and I've seen her around here and there. She's a great person.
Yeah, so you guys have got to get out to some Fringe events.
Oh, definitely. For sure, 100%. It's definitely on the list for 2021.
Okay. So, well, there's stuff coming up in December and in January.
That's right. So perfect. Yeah, we got to stay tuned in. I don't know if we follow them on.
I think we do. After Lisa, I think I went in and followed them.
We need to make sure that we stay up to date on that. So, okay, the next one. Favorite restaurant. What's your favorite restaurant or coffee shop or bar? Any kind of like eatery place. And it's hard to pick a favorite, right? But one that maybe you go to or gravitate towards.
Oh my God. Okay. So I have so many favorites. That's very hard. But I'm going to say Pom Pom's Tea House and Sandwicheria.
Yes, we've been there.
Pom is a friend of mine. I went there when it first opened, when Pom Pom actually worked at Pom Pom's. Mm-hmm. And it's just so good. Fresh baked bread. They make the sandwiches there. They have desserts. They also always have amazing art up. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say Pom Poms. But like I said, there's so many more, and I'm going to get now.
And some people, when we ask that question, they're like, I'm not ready to give that answer because I think they're going to offend somebody else. So we probably should word it differently, that it's not your favorite. So yeah, but that's a great answer. One of your favorites. Okay, yes. So the last one is something that we like to ask people, and that is you've given a lot this episode, but what is your number one favorite Orlando pro tip? So somebody maybe who just has moved here that's not familiar with Orlando, maybe somebody who's coming to visit but they don't want to just do the attractions and they need a pro tip. What is a pro tip that you would like to share about Orlando?
I want to tell people who need, well, everybody should be following hyper local sites like bungalower.com, which is run by my amazing friend Brendan O'Connor, who I love, love, love. Follow these sites so that they make it a point to post the local events. Yes, Universal's great. Yes, Magic Kingdom is great. But we have so many amazing galleries, pop-up events, craft bars, speakeasies. Like there's so much there when you scratch the local surface.
Yes.
You know, we've got amazing chefs. We've got, you know, restaurants that put up pop-up events and dining events. So that's like the best thing you can do. Orlando Weekly is also great and has their own plethora of events that often piggyback on local, you know, utilizing local restaurants and bars and things like that. But I think that's probably my best tip.
I think that is one of the best pro tips, because I've been doing that. I've kind of started doing that for travel myself. If I'm going somewhere to a city, I will kind of start following accounts there to kind of get an idea before I go. So that's kind of what we're here for, you know, the locals who want to, you know, do something outside of attractions or the norm, and for the tourists too, who wants to, maybe they really have gone to Disney for the last, they've been going to Disney for the last 10 or 15 years, and now it's time to break free of just the attractions bubble. So
absolutely,
we love making connections.
So much to your community to support these local businesses. Yeah. One of the things that my husband and I always do when we travel, and on a normal year, we travel a lot. We both work for ourselves and can, for the most part, he's IT, so he can work anywhere as long as he's got a laptop and a good connection. We ask people, where do they go? So when we go to Gatlinburg, that's one of our favorite spots to go. We'll ask somebody that in a store, hey, where do you go to eat? Where do you, you know? Yeah. And we found amazing dive bars and local run restaurants and different events like that.
Never pick up the tourist book in the hotel. That's the last thing you want to do. Don't do that.
Well, Denna, thank you so much. You are going to 100% be a resource for us, even all year round now. And
it was great talking to you.
And, I had so much fun. As you can tell, I can talk, and I've got my fingers many places. You know, so I love Halloween. The Halloween Guide Orlando started as my personal love project. And
you guys do any meetups?
We've tried it with some success. We are looking at doing some coming up next year, because this year, for some reason, I've been doing, every year I collect non-candy treats to drop off at the Children's Hospital. It's a tradition that my friend Babette Bombshell started, and I carried it on. And I had a lot of people reach out this year saying, I want to help. So we're working on some meetups, but I think we'll saturate it with my Halloween Fun Squad so that if nobody comes, we're still having a good time.
Because I would love to come to a meetup and meet, like, I need a fun squad, because
yes, you do.
That's why I don't have a lot of people that want to do haunt stuff with me. So
yes, I'll take you to Screamageddon, where this year I got put in an incinerator.
I love Screamageddon. Okay, if you listen to not this year's, like 2 years ago, Halloween episode, I couldn't say enough good things about Screamageddon.
Brian's like, oh,
one of my favorites. And when he heard the stories about getting pushed against the wall and getting, talked to and put in the cell, and you went this year to Screamageddon?
Yeah.
Well, how was it with social distancing and everything? That's why I didn't go, because I wasn't sure what it would be.
We wore our masks. We wore our masks everywhere we went. And we also took it upon ourselves to try. But it was another case of a county not mandating masks.
I had that feeling. That's why I didn't want to go out there.
Inside the houses. So as we wrote about the different events, we did share about that, because you need to know. You know, I had friends that went out that left within 30 minutes because they were just too And we picked an off-peak night, a weekday, but even then it was pretty crowded. And like I said, we had sanitizer in our pockets. They did have sanitizer out, and we wore our masks 100, the whole time. But it was what it was. You know what I mean? Like
2020, it was what it was. You can put it on
Yeah.
a t-shirt. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening, and thanks for doing this post-Halloween roundup with us. And
yeah, we'll be back with Denna again, I think. Next year.
For sure.
Yeah, anytime you need information, especially if it's art activities. I'm really busy with Art World, Orlando Fringe, Florida Film Festival. I love it all.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Denna, and everyone who's listening. Until next time,
bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at Orlando Out of Context. Instagram is where you can connect and interact with us, as well as see photos and videos related to this week's episode.
Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and iHeartRadio.